I love to draw. And even though I'm deep into a gouache painting phase right now, there's just something about making art with nothing but just a pencil. So in between my painted pieces, I've been carving out some time to draw, to slow down, focus, and let the marks speak for themselves. And with that singular vision and determination, I thought, what better subject for my next pencil portrait than Kratos, the god of war. Hello everyone, and welcome to Mellow Art, or Arts of the Round Table. Today I'm taking you through my pencil drawing of one of the most iconic characters in recent video game history, Kratos, the god of war. For those of you who might not be familiar, Kratos is a Spartan warrior who became the god of war after a life filled with battles, loss, and relentless determination. He's known for his sheer strength, tactical mind, and unyielding drive, qualities I wanted to capture in this portrait. This video is slightly sped up, but it should give you a clear peek into my full process. If you have any questions about anything you see along the way, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer or even expand on it in a future video. With all of that out of the way, let's get to the drawing. After gathering all the references that I need, I dive right in. The first few minutes, the first marks I put down are simply guidelines and measurements, the framework for everything else to come. You'll notice that I blend a few methods when I'm drawing the face. I use the Loomis approach for the divisions of the face, while I follow the planes and the rhythms with the Reilly method, all guided by Buscema's HTD, the Marvel Way principles. I only hint at these structures on paper because most of it is happening in my head as I draw. I'm constantly pulling and pushing the forms, adjusting, refining, until the face begins to feel like the Kratos I want to capture. But how do you take all of the qualities that define Kratos, his rage, his focus, the weight of his past battles, and put them into a single portrait? That's the beauty of this art form. You do it in the lighting, you do it in the expression, you do it in the posture. And it all begins here, on this phase. This is where you lay down the foundation for the story that you're about to tell. I'm drawing very lightly here, sketchy, quick, just searching for the right rhythm. I've got several images in front of me for reference, but the expression and the mood, that's all my own. And honestly, I catch myself grunting, even saying some of the lines under my breath as I'm drawing the face. It sounds funny, but it helps me connect with the weight of who he is, so those emotions sneak their way into the drawing. If phase 1 was world building, laying down history and foundation, phase 2 is where the story begins to take shape. Here is where we decide how many battles, scars, losses, and victories our subject has endured. Is this the face of a young warrior? Or a battle-weary general? A seasoned soldier? Or a retired god of war, now looking towards his son and knowing he may have to reveal his true nature without passing down the hidden scars of a lifetime? This is the part of the drawing where those questions get answered. And honestly, this is where the fun begins. This is where a character doesn't just take shape, but begins life. For me, it's especially meaningful to draw Kratos. I've played the majority of the early series, and I've spent hours with the last 2 reimaginings. As I shade his face, I can't help but remember certain moments from those adventures. The epic, bombastic set pieces, the quiet moments of rage and regret. It almost feels like I'm drawing the man's life itself. And that's what I love most about this art form. It's one thing to put marks on paper that resemble something familiar, but it's another thing entirely to make someone look at a drawing and relive an adventure or feel a story again. And that's the connection I'm always chasing. With the story beats in mind, I start fleshing out the drawing. I'm deepening shadows, creating form, and setting visual landmarks. This is where I make sure Kratos looks like who I say he is. I'm still working broad, still thinking big. I'm not chasing any tight details yet. Instead, I'm blocking in forms and laying down my first layer of shadows. I'm asking myself, how much can I hide now without losing the details I'll need later? And more importantly, am I staying true to the story that I have in my mind? Because even in this early pass, the shadows aren't just technical, they're emotional. They decide how much of Kratos' past you see, and how much still lingers in the dark. As I get deeper into the details, this is the part of the creative journey where you can really lose yourself. I've been at this in real time now about 30 to 40 minutes, and the hooks are in. Honestly, it is the best place and time to throw on a soundtrack and just work. The world around me continues on, but I am of a singular focus at this point. Here, even as I move through the face, I'm thinking of textures, skin, scars, different materials, and I'm flipping through my mental Rolodex of references to guide me. And then there's the beard. As iconic as this look is for the redesign of Kratos, there is one nagging thought. How much of this dude's beard can I hide? It's all fun and games when you're drawing, until you run into one of those ancient, battle-hardened face blankets that you suddenly realize it isn't just hair, it's a landscape that you gotta figure it out. But in truth, I'm just a bit envious. I can't grow a beard. I grow beards the way prairie blankets are made, in patches. So let's just continue and move on to the next phase. Once you've lost yourself in the details, the textures, the scars, the battle-hardened beard, all those little marks, all that careful layering leads straight to the next level. This is phase 3. It's where the drawing really starts to breathe, and where you can subtly guide the viewer deeper into your story. But I have to be careful. The unlikely tool, like this cotton swab, can quickly undo hours of careful work if used without thought. But used sparingly, it becomes a secret weapon, creating midtones that add depth, realism, and a quiet sense of life to the portrait. Using the swab, I start where I've already laid down the heaviest shadows. This lets me soften those areas, almost dissolving the pencil marks until there's nothing there for your eyes to cling to. Instead, you simply fall into the shadows. The only thing that pulls you back out are the sharp edges I carve in later, when I start chiseling the forms that refocus your attention on the subject. And that's what I love about this technique. There's a mesmerizing push and pull when it's done right. The shadows invite you in, and the edges bring you back. The challenge is always balance. Too much softness and the drawing loses its strength. Too much edge, and it loses its depth. It's a constant negotiation between hiding and revealing, between mystery and clarity. And then comes the light. This is where the kneaded eraser becomes just as important as the pencil itself. I'll sharpen it to a point to pull out fine highlights, the glint or the highlight of his nose, the edge of a scar, or I'll roll it and tap the surface to create a stippled texture across the skin. And suddenly the portrait isn't just graphite on paper. It begins to feel like flesh, like light is moving across a real form. Together the swab and the eraser create kind of a alchemy. One hides, the other reveals. One pushes, the other pulls. And it's in that back and forth where the drawing really does seem to come alive. Everything is where I want it to be. The foundation, the structure, the story. But right now, it's still all living in one tone. This is where the refinements come in. We'll deepen the shadows, strengthen the main lines, and carve out those highlights that really bring the portrait to life. This is where the drawing starts to feel powerful, where it gains its presence. So, I'll let you watch. Welcome to Phase 4. And there he is, the god of war, Kratos. What do you think? Did I do the ghost of Sparta justice? Let me know in the comments below. I had an absolute blast with this one, going back and watching clips from his old PlayStation days and remembering just how epic and bombastic the set pieces were, and then contrasting that with his latest 2 games where Kratos isn't just a god or a warrior, he was a father. And watching him shift from pure nature to learning nurture, that was something else. If you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment with your favorite Kratos story beat, or let me know what character you'd like to see me tackle next. If there was anything in my drawing process that caught your eye, something that you'd like me to expand or break down further, let me know in the comments as well. I may even turn it into a future video. Until then, I'll see you all in the next one. This is Arch of the Round Table. My name is Mello. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you. And as always, I'll draw you later. Bye-bye.